This story was made at the request of Angela Raker. You can also comment your favorite story idea. Thank you, friends. Once upon a time, in a quiet American town surrounded by green meadows and winding rivers, there lived a wealthy merchant with 6 children, 3 sons and 3 daughters. He was a wise, hard-working man who made sure his children had the best education money could buy, hiring excellent teachers to guide them toward good lives. All 3 daughters were beautiful, but the youngest was truly special. From the day she was born, everyone admired her sweet nature and gentle smile, calling her Little Beauty. The nickname stayed with her as she grew into a graceful young woman, much to the envy of her older sisters. The elder 2 daughters were proud and spoiled, always dreaming of luxury. They refused to mix with ordinary townsfolk or other merchants' daughters, insisting that only rich men or nobles were worthy of their attention. Every evening they went out to fancy parties, grand theaters, and sparkling concerts, always chasing admiration and excitement. But Beauty was different. She found her happiness in quiet moments, reading books filled with wisdom and adventure, or playing gentle music on her harp. While her sisters chased attention, she dreamed of kindness, truth, and love. Many wealthy young men tried to win her heart, but Beauty always smiled politely and said she wasn't ready to marry. For now, she wanted only to stay by her father's side and care for him. Then misfortune struck. The merchant's luck turned overnight. Investments failed, debts piled up, and the fortune he'd built over a lifetime was gone. All that remained was a small, weathered farmhouse deep in the American countryside, far from the city's busy streets. With tears in his eyes, he gathered his children and told them the truth. They would have to leave their fine home behind and live simply, earning their own way. The 2 older sisters exploded in disbelief. "Leave the city?" they cried. "How could we possibly live like peasants?" They were certain their admirers, the wealthy young men who once showered them with gifts, would come to their aid. But when the money vanished, so did their so-called suitors. Those men had only loved the sparkle of luxury, not the women behind it. Soon, the proud sisters became the talk of the town, mocked for their vanity and downfall. Beauty, however, met hardship with quiet courage. She told her father she would go with him, no matter how small the house or hard the work. Though her heart ached for the life they lost, she refused to give in to self-pity. When the family arrived at their modest country home, life changed completely. The father and sons labored in the fields from dawn till dusk, while Beauty rose early each morning to clean, cook, and keep the little home in order. At first, her hands blistered and her body ached from the endless chores. But after a few weeks, she grew stronger and healthier than ever before. Her spirit remained bright. She found peace in simple joys. When her work was done, she'd read her favorite books, play her harp, or hum soft songs as she spun wool. Meanwhile, her sisters did nothing. They sat idle, complaining endlessly. "Oh, this is unbearable," one grumbled. "Look at her, scrubbing floors like a servant," sneered the other. Beauty would only smile and say softly, "Tears won't bring back what we've lost. We must learn to find happiness in what we have." Their father loved her more deeply than ever. He saw that Beauty's heart held not only grace but kindness, humility, and a strength his other daughters could never understand. A full year passed in this quiet country life, until one morning, a messenger arrived with astonishing news. One of the merchant's ships, thought to be lost at sea, had finally returned to port, filled with his merchandise. Hope was reborn. "Bring me a crimson silk gown," one sister declared. "With ribbons and fine trinkets," added the other. Beauty, however, asked for something simple. A single rose. No roses grew in their little valley, so she longed for no luxuries. Her father smiled at her modest wish and promised to find one. But when he reached the city, legal troubles plagued his shipments. Everything went awry. "I'm afraid this is final. There's nothing more I can do," he admitted. He returned poorer than before. Saddened but resolute, he resumed his journey home. A storm descended. Rain turned to sleet, and then to snow. The wind lashed and twice unseated him from his horse. Darkness came, and his thoughts turned to wolves and starvation. Then, through a line of trees, a light beckoned him. He urged his horse forward and found a great mansion shining from eaves to towers, yet completely silent. No servant answered his calls. The stable door stood open, and provisions lay ready. His tired horse ate gratefully while the merchant entered, and found a lavish table set for one. Though soaked and weary, he dared to help himself to chicken and wine. He found a warm bed in an upstairs chamber. Exhausted, he sank into a deep sleep. When he woke late the next morning, fresh clothes had been laid out for him. Through the window he saw a garden filled with blooms. Grateful to his unseen host, he sipped warm chocolate and whispered thanks into the air. But before he departed, he remembered Beauty's wish. He stepped into the garden and plucked a single rose. "Ungrateful man, I gave you shelter and you steal my rose. You shall die," a voice thundered. "Please, sir, it was for my daughter who asked for nothing else," he pleaded. "I cannot let you go," said the beast, "unless one of your daughters comes in your place. She must come willingly and offer her life for yours. If not, you must return yourself within 3 months to face me. You may take a chest and fill it with whatever you wish before you leave." Faced with the choice of being devoured or saying farewell, the merchant took what small comfort he could in being allowed to see his family again. When he returned home, he told them everything, especially Beauty, handing her the rose that had caused his doom. "This rose will be the death of him," cried her sisters. "Then I shall go in his place," Beauty said firmly. Her brothers offered to go and slay the beast, but the merchant refused. Seeing Beauty's courage, he wept but allowed her to do as she wished. He also hid the treasure-filled chest, not wanting the family to be tempted back to the city. At dawn they set out. The beast awaited them at the castle gates. "Have you come of your own free will?" he asked. "Yes," Beauty answered quietly. The beast nodded. He allowed her father to depart at sunrise but warned him never to return. The merchant, grateful for his life, obeyed. Left alone in the castle, Beauty trembled. The place was vast, silent, and strange. But she resolved to be brave and make the best of it. As she explored, she found a golden door engraved with her name. Inside lay everything she could love: a magnificent bedchamber, a library full of books, a harpsichord, and even a desk for writing. On an open page of a nearby book were words written in glowing golden letters. "Welcome, Beauty. Banish fear. You are queen and mistress here. Speak your wishes, speak your will. Swift obedience meets them still." She whispered softly, "I only wish to know how my father fares." At once, a magical mirror shimmered to life, showing her father safe at home. Relief washed over her. That evening, a splendid meal appeared, followed by silent music that filled the great hall. At supper, the beast appeared. "Do you find me repulsive?" he asked. Beauty hesitated. "Yes," she answered gently. The beast sighed. "I know," he said quietly. "I am ugly and lacking wit. Your heart is what truly matters, not how you appear," Beauty told the beast softly. She had come to see his gentleness and quiet wisdom, and she cherished his kindness. Every evening at 9, he visited her faithfully. His devotion touched her heart. Yet each night, when he asked her to marry him, she gently refused, assuring him that she valued him deeply as a friend. Over time, Beauty realized how much his presence meant to her. His company had become her greatest comfort, something she could no longer imagine living without. One evening she said, "I wish to see my father." "You may," said the beast, "but promise to return within a week." He handed her a magical ring. "If you place it on your bedside table before sleep, you will awaken at home and return the same way when you wish." The next morning, Beauty found herself back in her father's home. "Father!" she cried, embracing him. A large trunk overflowing with dazzling gowns and jewels had appeared beside her. Though she dressed in the simplest gown, her sisters, who soon arrived with their husbands, could not hide their envy. The eldest sister's husband was handsome but vain, while the second's husband was cruel and mocking. Seeing Beauty's joy and grace filled them with jealousy. "If she stays longer than promised," one whispered, "perhaps the beast will grow angry and punish her." Let's persuade her to remain." And so they showered her with false affection, begging her to stay just a little longer. Moved by their tears, Beauty agreed to remain one more week, but her heart grew heavy. She missed the Beast terribly and feared he might suffer in her absence. On the 10th night, she dreamed of him lying in the garden, weak and dying of sorrow. She woke in horror. "Why have I been so selfish? I cannot live without him," she cried. Placing the ring back on the table, she lay down and awoke once more in the Beast's palace. Overcome with relief, she dressed in her finest gown that evening, ready to find him again. When the clock struck 9, the Beast did not appear. A wave of panic swept over Beauty, and she rushed through the silent halls of the castle, her heart pounding with dread. "Wait, where are you?" she cried. Then, in the moonlit garden by the canal, she found him, collapsed and barely breathing, his body weak and bleeding. "Seeing you once more lets me die content," he whispered faintly. Tears streamed down Beauty's face. "Please, don't leave me. I cannot live without you," she said, falling to her knees beside him. "I wish to be your companion, your wife." In that instant, the entire palace blazed with light. Brilliant colors danced across the sky, and radiant fireworks illuminated the night. Beauty shielded her eyes, then gasped. Before her stood not the Beast, but a handsome noble prince. A gentle voice filled the air. "A wicked fairy cursed me to live as a beast," the prince explained. "Only when a woman loved me for my heart and goodness, not my appearance, could the spell be broken. You, Beauty, have freed me." Just then, the same fairy who had appeared in Beauty's dreams descended in a glow of light, bringing her father and family with her. She smiled warmly. "Your compassion and courage have been rewarded," said the fairy. "You shall be a great queen, and your kindness will never fade." But turning to Beauty's 2 older sisters, the fairy's tone hardened. "As for you, whose envy and pride blinded your hearts, you shall stand outside this palace as statues until you learn humility and repentance." And so, Beauty married the prince. Their days were filled with joy, peace, and devotion. A happiness built not on beauty or wealth, but on love, virtue, and grace. And like all true fairy tales, they lived happily ever after.